I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll have an opening prayer if everyone will please bow their heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank and praise you for the glorious weather that you're giving us this time of the year. We pray that as we go through the season changes that we can appreciate it and it can come upon us in a gradual manner. We pray that you watch over the activities this evening, that we represent this city in a good way, and that we represent the actions in a favorable way as well. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. All right. We will now pursue the reading and approval of the minutes from the October 2nd, 2023 meeting. Motion to approve and suspend reading. Okay, we've got a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda that we have in front of us this evening? Nothing for me. All is good. I'd be looking then for a motion for approval. So all right, we have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we've got an agenda. All right, Grant, we start out here with 5A with the engineer's report.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know if you need a chair. Jared made it sound like you might have a few activities
We
for
do.
us to discuss tonight.
We didn't quite get these in the engineer's report on Friday, so I'll just pass those out. This would be a part of our alley engineer's report. This shows special assessments just projected for only the alley work. So that would be split up. I ran it the same way as the WRT alley, and that was, Monty, correct me if I'm wrong, 60% front footage, 40% square footage. So that's how those were calculated there. It's just off the cost estimate for the alley work. And then we also included in our engineer's report the cost estimate for just the additional concrete work for each business and the cost estimate for the parking lot improvements as well. So those are not shown on that map. They would be in the engineer's report. So each business and the city with the parking lot will have their decision on whether or not they want to do their improvements themselves. So that would be a part of the engineer's report. So we have the Union State Bank Alley engineer's report. You guys made a motion to have us prepare that. Last month we told you we were still working on it. That is final, so you guys have that in your engineer's report today. Cost estimate, maps included, and then at this point it would just be up to you guys on what you want to do at this point. You can table it till next meeting, till more people are here, or if you want to make a decision to go forward, then the next steps would be to publish that resolution of necessity.
I got a question here. The city parking lot, that 04-06 space, that's not encapsulated in the blue, or was that just something we were looking at but not necessarily considering as part of this project? Yeah. We're just going after the real critical area, which is the driving space, more or less.
So this is, the engineer's report just covers the special assessment areas.
Yep.
The parking lot would be a separate item that the city could address. There is a cost estimate. I don't know if you guys have the engineer's report with you.
Yeah, that should be. I remember when we talked about it last time, we did talk about that particular space and even some of the spaces up to the back of some of the businesses there.
So each of those are included in the cost estimate portion of this. So city parking lot, that would be what we just discussed. Then the alley would be special assessed, that whole block we created, that special assessment district. And then business 1, 2, 3, those start from left to right on that map. And again, those would just be up to the city, or up to the business themselves if they want to do those. So those costs are not included in the special assessment map.
So Monty, I'm assuming then as part of the approval process, then you would also provide then for each of those businesses what that adder would be? It would be solely their responsibility if they chose to do that.
If they choose to do that.
Okay,
So we would meet with each business and kind of let them know what the improvements would be, and if they want to, they can, if not.
yeah.
And again, these are just projected, and it's a cost estimate at this time, so, and the special assessment committee does have final say on this, or they do have say on this, I should say.
Boy, I tell you what, I'd be upset if I were some of these homeowners on here, particularly the one that has no.
And that one, Jared did,
74002.
yeah, Jared did email Monty about that today too. That was one where maybe the front footage is 0 on that one, and they just get square footage. There's, special assessment committee can make their recommendation to the commission, and you guys have final vote on that as
Sure.
well.
Sure.
It'd be similar to that other alley. There's those properties way on the south end that don't have anything to do with the alley.
Yeah.
And at that time, the commission just recommended to the special assessment board that they take a good look at the actual benefit to each property in there.
Yeah.
And determine.
So the action you'd be looking for potentially tonight to just get the ball rolling would be that we would make a motion to basically create,
You would approve the
Project.
engineer's report.
okay, and then it goes to the next step where we reach out to the property owners.
Right. Then we have to do the resolution of necessity.
Does the special assessment group look at it before you reach out to them?
No.
So we're giving the homeowners then the worst case, we'll call it the worst case situation. Okay. So what are the wishes of the board?
Guess I'd like to keep moving forward with it. Alley's pretty bad, it needs to be fixed.
So is that a motion?
It is.
We've got a motion to approve the engineer's project
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Yes, sir.
So this project is gonna go out then, go out on, I guess, like bids yet, right?
It still needs to be bid, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can still reject bids and that whole process. This approves the engineer's report, which is the cost estimate and map, and then publishes the resolution of necessity. So really, it could get protested out as well.
Yeah.
So that process still needs to happen. And then it does need to be designed, and then it does need to be bid. So that's go all the way through that. So it'd be construction next year.
Yeah.
But realistically, you'd like to get it bid in that winter time frame to get it on someone's radar to get it done next summer.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Roll call.
Weider.
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Heller.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, I kind of started backwards there, but I'll go back up to the water storage system project. That's where we have 3 contracts. DN Tanks built the tank. Their contract is closed. That tank is up and running. Final balancing change order, final pay app. So they're done. TAN Construction did the water main on that project, and they have a couple items that are still under their contract. So they're done with their work. They did their punch list work. I drove that. That grass actually looks a lot better up there on that route. So their work would be considered complete at this point besides the stuff under their contract. So we put the asphalt patching under there, the quality asphalt. That was completed last week, two weeks ago. About.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And then the concrete work that Tom Winkler's doing, or Tom with Winkler, and he's going to finish that up, it sounds like, in the next week or two. A couple pieces left there. So then hopefully next month we can close Tan's contract as well.
Okay.
B&G Electric, their only remaining item was to put that light pole up at the tower site. They did get that up. They got that working and everything. So the only payment we have for them is to release their final retainage. This is typically when we do the final balancing change order. There will not be one for B&G Electric. It was just everything went per contract for them. So we would recommend payment of pay app 4, the final pay app for B&G Electric, to release the remaining retainage of $4,976.20.
Okay, we would need a motion for that.
So moved.
Okay, we've got a motion to release that. Second. And a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Stern,
Aye.
Weidrich,
Aye.
Pillar.
Aye. Okay, next.
So that'll make B&G Electric substantially complete, and that just leaves TAN, so hopefully next month.
Okay.
And as you guys remember, as we were going through this project, there were a lot of items added, so bluegrass, that water main lowering is added, multiple hydrants, just other things throughout the project that we added, and they were change ordered in. We kept saying that we attempt to run it through the State Water Commission for funding, get a 60% grant. But we did get that letter that amended our contract to add those items in. So it was about an additional, I think, $96,000 that we got from State Water Commission. And that'll amend our initial grant agreement. So that just needs signature from, is it you, Monty, or is it Jerry?
Jerry.
Jerry will just need to sign that. But we did get that. Everything was approved and ran through. So all the work on the project got 60% grant. No motion needed there. Expedition Estates, about a month ago, they stopped their underground work and they told us they're going to start getting everything patched up and closed up for the year, just to make sure that they could get that work done. They have not been working for the last month, and we found out they were working with the paving company, and we just called them to kind of get scheduled and figure out what the deal is going to be for winter. And we realized that they weren't going to be paving it yet this year, that paving company was booked up. So we've been working with Williams Builders to try and line them up with another asphalt company, actually Quality Asphalt, who's just in town, and just see if we can get anyone else here to do that little bit of paving. So we've been working with Darrell and Williams to try and get someone else to come into town, just to get that closed up. But the reality might be that no one's available to get that paved. And at that point, they're talking about using millings and just buttoning it up like that for the winter. But we have been working behind the scenes with Williams to try and get someone else to come in and pave. So it's getting late in the season. Okay, Union State Bank Alley, we did that. And then the last thing is just, we've got all those miscellaneous cost estimates we've kind of been bringing. So you can see the list there. There's a couple other items as well. The Expedition Estates lighting project. I believe we have costs for solar lighting and just regular standard wired lighting as well. We didn't bring that with tonight. We'll bring that next month with the two different cost estimates, comparing them. And then last month we had sanitary sewer spot repairs. We presented that report a couple months ago, but there's that cost estimate and the map for that. And then the pedestrian trail improvements, with multiple areas along the pedestrian trails that could be repaired and just maintained. Lift station improvements, there were some communication items at the lift station. And then there's some erosion at the lagoons. We've been working with Jared on those with the city of Hazen. That we're just going to kind of keep an eye on. That probably won't be a next year thing, but keep an eye on that as lagoons are in service, wind, and just being out in the open, they take a beating from erosion and all that. So we'll just keep an eye on that and monitor that one. And then the last one will just be the water meters. I believe you guys have been having some discussion with water meter contractors. So we'll leave that with you guys for now. If you want us to get involved at any point, we can. But you'll be contacted quite a bit by some of those guys. So, but those items are all there with cost estimates. I know Jared's been kind of trying to steer you guys to make a decision at some point as it gets later in the year. The only difficult part is topo. If we need to get any topographic survey before snow, it's just nice to get that so it's not December with a foot or two of snow and we're trying to get out here and get topo survey so it can be bid in February, March. But at this point, there's no motion on those unless you guys want to go forward with anything. But we'll just leave those on there. We can update cost estimates for you guys and bring maps and whatever, but those are just there for your information. And that's all I have. We have the CWSRF. So last month, I believe it was DWSRF. This month it's CWSRF on the questionnaires. So we'll put a questionnaire on there for probably a lagoon project. Just something so you're on the priority list. If something does come up, then you have that loan funding, potentially grant funding available. And water meters also go under the CWSRF.
Okay.
So we'll put those on there as well. So we'll probably have 2 of those for Monty to sign. But again, it's not an obligation to do a project. Just puts you in line if you do want any funding in the future. Any questions for me? Any other items? I'm probably gonna head out here. Gotta get to Williston, but
Okay, thank you very much.
yep. Thank you, guys.
I did have conversations with Jared today, gave him an update on what we had been doing in terms of meeting with the various water meter suppliers. And what he suggested is that we do have some offline conversations, and then maybe come the beginning of the year, we take a look at the possibility of pursuing, throwing out a bid spec and stuff like that. And if we decide to move forward with something like that, that may be the opportunity then to grab some of these other smaller projects, to pull them into the mix, and possibly even, as we did with some of these other little miscellaneous projects, envelop them under that same project, if you will, for funding and matching and stuff like that, if we can find something out there to provide that kind of funding. Okay, good. All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you, guys.
All right, moving on to 5B, AWM staffing release agreement.
This was discussed the last meeting, so I guess if you wanted to move forward or not. As I explained to Attorney Caper before the meeting, I did contact Brent Ekstrom from Lewis and Clark. There were no actual city funds. It was a pass-through of CDBG funds to the city, to the AWM staffing, to be in compliance with all the guidelines.
Any concerns at all from our,
You know, Pat and I have kind of talked about this a couple of different times, and while it seems maybe a little bit rushed to go ahead and approve it, I don't know that there's any reason why you wouldn't necessarily approve it unless you wanted to try to potentially chase down some dollars for the inputs that you guys had in terms of time and attorney fees, putting together some of the original agreements. But I don't know, neither he nor I had the chance to really dive into that, and it feels like that might be a very, very small percentage relative to what Lewis and Clark and the state of North Dakota provided, so might not be worth it in the end to try to pursue those potential dollars under the circumstances.
just based on conversation with Pat last time, he wasn't certain at that point who, from a legal standpoint, was even representing the city at the time.
Yeah,
So it may cost the city more to explore
exactly.
where or if there might be any funds available than.
I think that's both Pat and my concern is, sure hate to get you guys $1,000 and find out, or you spent $1,500 or something like that. That's not the math that we like.
So it sounds like, just in some preliminary discussions, Monty, correct me if I'm wrong, the signing of this, because the money's flowed through, we had a tie to it as a city and would have to approve this for the monies ultimately to make it back to the state where they originated from. Okay. So what are the wishes of the board?
Make a motion to approve it.
All right, we've got a motion to approve it.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion?
So then on the funds, Monty, I guess where'd this come from? Some AC?
The Community Development Block Grant through the state.
Yeah. So I guess how does that work?
Basically, there's always community development money out there, but in order for it to go to this particular project, it couldn't go directly from the state to them. It had to be kind of a sponsored thing through the city. So the city basically sponsored, kind of like we've done with some of the other ones where, like, the Heritage Park Committee applies for a grant. They do it through the city of Hazen, but the funding then goes back to them. We really don't spend anything other than the attorney's costs or other legal costs.
Yeah.
So then on the state, I guess like rep, then I guess what do they want us to do on this? I guess-
The discussions with Brent Ekstrom from Lewis and Clark has been to get the release so they can try and get some of the funding back. They're still not guaranteed any funding coming back to them once this sells, but the assumption is there will be some to go back.
Okay, any other discussion or questions? No, roll call.
Weider.
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Pillar.
Aye. All right. Under the request of the citizens in section 6, we've got a local permit raffle for the District 33 GOP.
Proceeds from their raffle will be used to support legislators and do advertising for said representatives coming into the new election year.
Okay, wishes of the board.
So moved.
All right, we've got a motion on the floor to approve the local permit raffle. Second. And a second. Any further discussion? We need roll call on this? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Okay, motion carries. And then we move on to a free and reduced hall rent for the Willow Butte Sunshine Club. This is for an event that already occurred, correct?
Correct.
All right.
So this is basically just a matter of are we going to bill them the full bill or just bill them for the use of the
Got it. So they did a Fleisch Kikla feed as a fundraising event to help out with medical expenses. And so would they be looking for basically not having the expenses for the hall rent? So moved. All right, we've got a motion on the floor
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pull the same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Moving down into the reports, 9A, water, sewer, and garbage. Just for point of knowledge, Dave did report to me that they had a hydraulic cylinder fail on the garbage truck this last week. They normally would have free local here take care of the repairs, but he's slammed with getting us ready for winter. And so we reached out to Dakota Fluid Power in Bismarck. That's an outfit that we have used in the past and have contract agreements with them to be able to pay them for doing service, and should be under $1,000, and we should have that cylinder back sometime maybe later this week.
Do we ever check with Hazen Motors? See if they could rebuild it?
Well, here,
The implement dealer?
he's usually been pretty busy every time I've talked to him. I know we had a leak on the street sweeper one time and he refused. He's a one-man show out there too, and he just pretty much turned us away.
Okay. And then I had mentioned that we are continuing to have some conversations about our water meters. It had been brought to our attention in advance, and it was intentionally in advance because the availability of some of the water meters out there, just due to kind of a similar situation to vehicles with these smart chips. Some of these water meters use some smart chips in their technologies as well. And so they're a year to a year and a half out. And so they were giving us the heads up and stuff on that. That has prompted us then to start having conversations with various vendors. And I had a conversation with More Engineering today, and we'll do some follow-up discussion on putting together a bid spec and understand how that all works from a city standpoint. You know, it's not always, it's low bid,
lowest responsible.
lowest responsible. So we're going to put together bid spec and stuff that best suits us as a city and represents our citizens and stuff like that. We'll try to get that out there in a timely manner so that we can make some decisions moving forward. So, and then I did have discussions with Jared. We also, within the water department, we are obligated to the state to make a determination what the entry material is to all of our residential water customers. And it's in an attempt to look at lead piping and the consequences of having lead piping out there. And so we were informed that Moore Engineering on our behalf was able to receive grant money that will basically fund the whole exploratory function and determination then as to what each of our citizens has. And so Moore Engineering is going to be working with Monty. They'll put together flyers and questionnaires that will go out to residents that will allow them to basically take a photograph of their water meter and submit that. And we're trying to make it as simple as possible to prevent, hopefully, the necessity of having to go into too many basements, crawl spaces, and stuff like that to physically examine what's out there. And Moore Engineering figured that they would probably start with some of us as city employees and commissioners and whatnot to just kind of work through the process and see what works best so that they can do that with the rest of the citizens. And I told Jared, I said it makes sense for us to jump on that quickly because this is the entire state of North Dakota falls under these guidelines, and it has to be done by sometime, I believe, in 2024.
It's supposed to be done, I want to say by October of 2024.
So we're going to get on that project as well. That's what I have for tonight. Now we'll move on to street cemetery.
You wanted to,
Oh, excuse me. Oh, yes, I do have one more thing. We did have interviews for our water position / street support. I don't know what all the appropriate titles are for this year. Seasonal, or no, it's a full-time position, but we did have that. And so tonight I bring to the board the recommendation to offer up the position as an entry-level position to Brian Alderin. He's currently living up in Mandan, but is looking to move him and his family someplace closer to Hazen here, and wants to basically come work for the city and live here the rest of his life. So my motion is simply that we approve putting an offer out to Brian Alderin for this position.
Second.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
When's he gonna be here?
Well, we would go through the normal process with approval tonight. Then Monty would reach out to him. We would be scheduling then the background check and pre-employment testing and everything like that. And the question was asked of the individual, when could he start? And he said, whenever you need me. So it would be as soon as possible. So, any other questions? Roll call.
Pillar.
Aye.
Weidrich. Aye. Stern.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. So we'll get on that, Monty. We'll move forward with making that communication. All right, now we'll move on to street and cemetery. I don't know if there was anything, Dave, that you wanted to.
We're just continuing with sweeping leaves, getting ready for winter, and I was informed they should be up on Wednesday to install the new tires on both payloaders.
Okay. All right, finance, busing, and library.
So about anything.
Okay, thank you. Police, fire, and forestry.
Alright, so I have nothing for the police for right now. Only thing I have from the fire department is runs for the last month. We had a vehicle rollover south of Beulah, a rollover on County Road 9, a bale fire south of town, a motorcycle accident up on Highway 1806, and then another motor vehicle accident at 203rd Avenue in town. So another busy month for us again.
Yep.
And then forestry, I have nothing there either for now.
Okay. All right, HCD, Buster, you got anything for us tonight?
Well, one of the things I'll just share with you is, you probably saw in the paper that, we did, when I say we, McEd, we went over and made a request to the county for some additional dollars for McEd, and part of that is what we were looking at doing is that would be for more operating in terms of some of the things we've done in the past. You know, we did some grant writing in the past, also some flex pay stuff, and another one was a big housing study that we did way back a long time ago. And part of that information was beneficial actually for us, a housing study, to help us acquire the grant money that we received for Hazen Pioneer Apartments, and then also Beulah as well for their energy apartments. We both received it back then at that time, $2 million grants from the housing department in North Dakota. So trying to impress upon the county the importance of us, and again, McEd trying to have some dollars in order to work with, so that we can look across the county in terms of where things are at. And then, of course, part of that bigger picture is we're still working at trying to get more industry into the area. Natural gas still remains kind of one of the top priorities that we're looking at, but that's such a big project. I don't know what would happen if we'll be fortunate enough for something like that to fall in place. And of course, they still have not released the feds any information on the Talon project, which I'm anticipating now, because they just released the information on the hydrogen hub, North Dakota becoming a hydrogen hub, that possibly we might hear something now about Talon officially from the federal government. And that's what the holdup is. They need to release that information. So, and if you recall, those are big dollar projects. The Talon Metals operation would be big time dollars. And so we'll see what happens. You know, last thing I could talk about is our housing incentive opportunity that the board has been gracious enough to put forth. Had some nice interest in that relative to inquiries. Have some people who are actively pursuing it already. But what's nice about it is that there's more interest, people coming, stepping forth, and at least inquiring about it. And so, but as you know, when you build a new house, it's a big step. So people just don't jump into it. So that's all.
All right, thank you very much. President's report tonight, we will forego that with Jerry gone. So we'll move down to old business. 11A is the Housing Authority Pioneer Apartment Board appointment. As everybody may recall, we had some resignations from that board, so there's openings. We reached out, and tonight we have a candidate to present.
Christy Cleaver Keller is not seeking reappointment to the board. I was contacted and advised that Haley Weeder would be interested in serving on that board. I've had no other contact since we published it. So if you approve,
So we would need a motion to approve Haley for this assignment.
So moved.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor. Second. All right, we've got a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Pass our thanks on to her for her willingness to serve on that. Okay, and we will bring up once again for discussion the phone system proposal that was presented to the city from West River Telephone. There were some questions that we were looking for maybe a little bit of clarification last time. Did we get some dialogue back?
the one question had to do with the installation cost, and they did explain that, as you can see here, 2 hours per phone, but since they have to get rid of the old system, they were looking at a total of 17 hours at their current rate of $150 an hour is how they arrived at the $25.50 for their.
17 hours, not per phone.
No,
Okay.
total,
Okay.
total of 17 hours.
Yeah, say.
Boom. I know.
All right.
And then the other $400 of their installation or our upfront cost had to do with miscellaneous materials.
So we, the city,
Wiring and stuff.
everything that we have right now is leased equipment through them, correct?
Correct.
So they would obtain all of these things and take them back. We don't have to worry about any disposal or anything.
Right.
Okay.
And it was pointed out that, you know, they are a co-op, so we do get a lot of the funding back through our capital credits and dividends, but not that that should make a lot of difference.
It's better than a kick in the head. All right, wishes of the board. Do we need any kind of refreshment on going back as to what the overall cost of this project would be and what the time frame would be for going after this?
Time frame they weren't positive on. Our upfront cost would be the $2,990. Everything else would be on our monthly charge.
And the monthly charge was slightly higher than what it was before,
Yep. It will,
but it
I
adds some
guess it
additional
will
services.
It will be a little bit lower, but we won't have any more long distance since
Right.
this is an internet phone.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve.
okay, we've got a motion on the floor for approval
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion?
I just don't understand how we're getting charged an install fee when we're paying equipment rental. We're already leasing the equipment from them, and we're gonna be leasing the new equipment from them. So shouldn't they be swapping that old equipment out for free then? Because generally when you lease equipment from somebody and that equipment becomes obsolete, they come swap it out for free, not charge you more money to swap it out.
I don't know if it's because it's a horse of a different color, meaning that, you know, you come in, now you got patch cording and stuff like that that you would take from, and connectors that you would be putting into the system for your VoIP connection versus coming off your RJ45. I don't know.
I can't explain it either.
My experience in the rest of the real world out there is that this isn't any different than what I've seen in the industrial world as well.
That's what we dealt with within the office too, when we made the changeover. We made the changeover to this internet-based phones at least 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago, but we had that install charge as well because it does take them, I mean, it's a completely independent system than what the city currently has, so I could kind of understand the justification there in that respect.
So I'm just gonna ask, you know, I guess like even if a Phoenix were to fail, you know, so then are we gonna have to pay then, I guess, installation fee on a phone that failed, or?
You're meaning with the existing technology, if we were to choose not to move forward?
No.
No? Oh, in the future?
Well, this new stuff we're gonna get, yeah, but yeah, it don't matter.
I guess my feeling would be is that it's a one-time expense for install, but I understand what you're saying. Let's say 6 months down the line, one of the phone fails. Are they gonna charge us a $25 fee to come out here and swap out that leased piece of equipment?
Yeah, because realistically, we're not being charged for any of the equipment in this. It's just the install, the time and their materials to do the install.
Okay.
What we dealt with the office when we had to deal with that situation was, once the system is in place, if you've got a phone that goes down, they can just bring in a new one and it plugs right in, and we never got a bill for that at all.
Okay.
Don't know if that's gonna be a mirror image to what you guys dealt with, but
Sure.
it didn't take anything in that respect, just for clarification.
All right, any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Weider,
No.
Stern,
Aye.
Pillar.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, then moving on to the police vehicle.
This is more or less informational. At this point, he did finally get some pricing for the 2024s, but he still can't place any orders, because until the strike is over, they're not accepting any orders. So I guess, like I say, it's more informational unless you wanted to just say, yeah, we're gonna do it, let us know when you can, and
Hate to do that because prices might increase.
Yeah.
I know,
yeah, that's why I say it's more informational at this point.
and it's already $5,000 more than he thought it would be.
Yeah.
And did I see it right? Were they throwing out also an option of doing like a pickup truck? Or did I read that wrong in there?
No, oh, no, not on this. It's part of the communication as to what's gonna be available. They were talking between the pickups and the Tahoes.
Got it, okay. All right. So I guess I see it as informational. I don't know that it does us any good at this point to act on it.
Hard to approve something you don't really know what the cost is gonna be.
Right. Okay, so I guess we table that until we get something a little bit more defined with the time frame and everything like that. All right, under new business then, we have the cemetery columbarium, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, discussion. But effectively, it's a crypt of sorts, if you will, for placing urns, correct?
Correct, for cremains, yes.
For cremation, storage of that, and you would be able to then, it's a decorative type setup that you would place out there in your cemetery. And then if you wanted your remains to be in there, you would have a placard or whatever, short of putting a casket in there.
Yeah, rather than purchasing a burial plot, you would purchase one cabinet in the columbarium. And I didn't know if you wanted to proceed now with Commissioner Hack not being able to be here. I know he had gotten some pricing information, so if you want, we can throw it onto the next agenda as well.
I think that makes good sense. I'd like him to be involved in the conversation. Any concerns with that? Okay. All right, at this point in time, we will open up the floor for any public comments.
Would that be for like me wanting to stay in my camper? Or
Yeah, this is Paul Cranbeer. You know his house burned down on 5th Street. They did take the house out now. He's been living in his camper in the
campground?
in the RV
Okay.
park. Since our ordinance doesn't allow him to park his camper and live in it on a residential lot, he would like to request a variance to do it for a short time until.
Be like temporarily. I got back surgery coming up. I can't work right now. Basically the money that I got, I'm paying for my medical bills. Like tomorrow I gotta get 2 teeth pulled. That's $2,000 right there. It's all coming out of my pocket. Been staying in a motel and that cost me $500 for 4 nights. I mean, I'm going through a tough time here. Ended up being a diabetic. I guess Mark can clarify. I mean,
So your request this evening is a variance on the city ordinance that would prevent a person normally from placing a camper on their city property and living there.
Correct.
And you got any idea when you say temporary, what you're thinking? Do you have something lined up to bring a house in or build a house?
a modular house. I'm thinking, get through the winter or whatever. I need to get this back surgery done. So right now, I know that's gonna be like $80,000. I don't have insurance, and I don't know. I I can't afford an apartment or anything like that. I mean, I don't know what else I can do. I mean, I can't work. I mean,
And having the camper, the RV parks closed for the winter season, is that,
Yeah, and I don't know if they were charging you at the RV park.
yeah. It's like $400 a month, but I mean, plan on insulating that camper. I mean, I got the power, I got the hookup, I got everything there. It's just, like you said, temporarily. I mean, I need to get this back surgery done. I've been waiting on it, and I've been going through a tough time, and I don't know what to do. I mean,
do they, at the RV park, do they shut down for the winter?
Antelope Creek does not, no.
Okay. Is that an option to have discussions with them? I mean, you would be paying utilities in your city lot for electricity and water and stuff like that. Have you talked to them at the RV park about the possibility of just keeping it
The
there?
thing is, I don't have a license, so I'm having a hard time. You know, I gotta walk everywhere, and then it's, you know, with my back and stuff, it's, you know, I can't walk that far, and, you know, it's hard to get a ride. I couldn't even get a ride to Fargo, you know, to make an appointment, and that was like last Thursday, so now I got December 6th, I gotta go back to Fargo, but I gotta find somebody to get a ride, and I'm just having a tough time with everything. I mean, at least where I'm at, you know, I can close to like the gas station and stuff.
Where your current lot is in town?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like right by the cop shop or whatever in Senex there. I mean, and I'm not getting my mail because there wasn't a house there or whatever, so they say that's vacant, so I haven't got my mail for like 2 months, so I don't know what to do. I mean, pretty much a wreck.
We have any history?
Not that I'm aware of, you know. I know there was talk with Steve that it had been done as somebody was constructing. Once construction had already started, they were staying in their camper there, but nothing directly correlates to this. And I will say Jared had concerns because it's just basically a water hydrant now with a meter up on top, how that would be insulated for the winter to keep from freezing and stuff.
That's what I was told. The guy here in town would secure it so it won't freeze up.
Okay.
As soon as, if I get permission or whatever, I'd be calling him and he would have everything so nothing would freeze up.
And you said which one? The one up by Krause's is the one that stays open year? No,
the
the one across the highway from Senex. That's where you're at right now?
No, I stayed in a motel right now, and that's killing me. 4 nights, that's $500. I mean, I can't work, and I can't walk that far because of my back. I mean, like I said, I'd get, you know, the water wouldn't freeze up because there's a guy here in town who, like, does everything so nothing freezes up. I don't know.
Wishes of the board?
So I move to approve the, variance. Approve the variance until 1st of May.
1st of May? Second that. And we've got a second. Any further discussion? Any concerns at all from?
No, I don't think that there's any major concerns. I think that it's got to be contingent upon him being able to hook up the water in a manner that's not going to freeze. But beyond that, and that if there is any damage to that curb stop, that he's responsible for that damage. But I think that you can hook it up in a manner that it won't freeze. And so I think that it's doable, just proceed with caution.
Have you had any conversations with your neighbors at all there?
That one neighbor, they're fine with it. Waylon, he didn't have a problem with it. He's the one across the street.
Okay.
And like I said, once I get this back surgery done and I can start working again, and I own the 2 lots, so I want to put it, modular house. As I don't know what to do.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Stern.
Aye.
Weidrich.
Aye.
Pillar.
Aye. All right, so you're approved to go ahead and do that. We do have that sunset of May 1st.
May 1st.
Yep.
All right, and then what else do I need to do?
Just need to make sure that you get the installation done in such a manner for the electrical and for the water and stuff, so it's aesthetically pleasing and it's not going to cause problems for the city to, have a freeze up scenario
I'll be
occur.
done tomorrow. I'll call a guy and
Good.
take care of that. Thank you.
Yep.
Like I said, I need my water turned on. Everything else is already hooked up there. And that'd be the only thing.
All right. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we move on to the approval of the bills.
So moved.
All right, we've got a motion to approve the bills as presented
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Weidrich. Aye. Stern.
Aye.
Pillar.
Aye. Motion carried. Bills are approved. Meeting adjourned.